Thank you, Kamila, for allowing us the time in your busy schedule to meet. It's a privilege to have you on board and have you as a guest on Occhi Arts and Entertainment's platforms. The first question for readers unfamiliar with your work and who you are, please tell us more about what drew you to a career in the arts.
Hello, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and share the journey. Anyway, what drew me to career of arts? Wow, that's a very serious question. But it wasn't actually that something drew me. I guess in my case, it was actually how far away I was far away from it, how I came away from it. And only when I realize I'm on the path that actually maybe that is not actually my path, it's really empty, and I go to the stage when on paper I had everything everyone could have wanted, a good career, good position. I was at the time working in actually as a head of marketing for luxury hotels in London, great opportunities, fantastic properties, fantastic, just everything. But I wasn't at some, I had this, I've hit 30 and I had this realization why I am, still hungry and kind of unfulfilled. What is actually going on? Anyone in my position would be happy with what I have. And somehow I feel very empty and, unfulfilled. And I started to question and going there. And the more I started to delve into it, the more I realized that, perhaps there are some other things that really interest me and fire me. And I just started to explore those things. And I gave it a go. And that was actually where the new path started to emerge. As it emerged, I was being very much drawn to it because I started, discover actually. And I gave it a go. And that was actually where the new path started to emerge. As it emerged, I was being very much drawn to it because I started, discover actually some of my talents and natural abilities that I never had a chance to have a go or even explore very deeply. And I gave myself the time to actually see what is going on, what do I like, and explored it. And the more I explored, the things got even more interesting, so to speak. Things started to build up. And because I was a novice, and I was at the same time exploring many disciplines, I was also exploring movement. I was really strongly drawn to movement and the body and the whole performance aspect, as well as the painting, physical painting, abstraction and colors. But then also, I always had this interest in Japan. And when I had the time, when I kind of revisit my life, I went to Japan. That was in 2018 for 2 weeks. I was living in Kyoto on my own, and I was just researching and being in my own discovery of it all, we can say. And the Japanese calligraphy very much opened up for me. I was there, I was experiencing it. I started to learn it since then. And found amazing teachers and really got into it from the painting perspective, but also from the movement perspective, because very much is like a movement meditation, movement expression in a moment. And that's also started to fascinate me. So, over the years, this path that has been drawing me has built up, basically. And then that's where I am, and that's where we're going into heading.
Right. You mentioned Japan. Can you share who were your influences? Were there was that a milestone in terms of those who were persuasive on you, and in terms of the direction of your artistry?
Definitely, that visit to Japan, and actually it was 2. I was so fascinated. I came back the year later as well. Definitely influenced my style and my visual aesthetics in some way, and my practice. being there and seeing the real thing, the energy, and being with the artists, having lessons there, and then continuing the lessons with also Japanese. I managed to find, Japanese teacher living in Europe, and then in London as well, where I could face to face learn from them. That was huge in terms of the influences, and taught me even how to paint in general, and think, and also the philosophical aspect of it, which influences my practice, because my work is actually very philosophical, and it touches about those themes that Zen touches, and calligraphy, and in Japan, the whole ancient spiritual knowledge and journey, and where we are in the circle of life.
Yeah. And on that note, I mean, obviously you've got your forthcoming show, the Circle of Everything. Can you tell us a little bit more about the show, the exhibition, and what viewers, audiences can expect?
Of course, yes. I was actually hoping, that I can do a little exclusive for you, because what is the show? Firstly, well, the show is interdisciplinary, so it follows my practice of merging, blending various things, and I think this is the first show where truly I have created something that merges visual art and performance and movement, and specifically air movement and in the air. The element that I've been working with for a while as well, aerial movement. So it's 40 minutes solo piece, where I'm using moving images, so very visual projections going behind me, and they are very much integrated into the narrative of what's going on. There's a body on stage, which I'm the main performer, where I am actually, integrating with projections and working with projections. It is a layered effect, we can call it. And then, there's an aspect of Enso, which is what the piece is inspired by, which is from the Japanese Zen practice. It is a circle of everything. It is a circle of life, iconic symbol. The start and beginning, the empty and the complete, beautiful dualities there as well, philosophically. And there is a hoop, an aerial hoop, which is a beautiful duality and a mirror to the circles is on the floor. And a hoop above it is a beautiful metaphor visually. So we're working with all those elements to tell the story. Story from, I would say, from darkness to light. It is a human journey story, from the chaos to higher levels of operating. It is very immersive, I would say, and cinematic, very, very visual. Music, of course, also plays a big role. So there's no text; everyone can understand it. But very, very visual and very immersive. And I hope it is made to create a dialogue in the audience heads and everyone really. Internal dialogue, connecting to, something bigger, something higher and bigger than us, the living force that is within us, because the life painting will be a scene where we connect to the life energy, because it is done in a moment and it's done very naturally, and there's lots of synchronicities and chances that it can go this way or that way. No one really knows which way it's going to go and how it will actually come out as a circle in terms of and things. And I will add another element to it for the first time as well, and that is the exclusive, because I will add color as a final scene, and I will add color from the air in a very natural, also synchronistic way. And yes, and that will be a merge, very big merge in terms of expressive performative painting, as well a visual theater piece that you watch as a show.
Right.
And the painting will go on sale afterwards, of course. And I hope a little bit more wider collection of works will also be released, because I'm now, rehearsing, practicing, and there's a lot of Ensos being produced. Well, a lot. There is a beautiful work being produced as part of the creation of the show that is coming. So, yeah.
Right. Lots to look forward to, and lots for the audiences to take in. in terms of the performance, I mean, you say it's integrated. It's based on live Japanese Enzo painting.
Mhm.
Is that what it is? So, in terms of a spiritual practice where the artist, I think, paints the work in one master stroke. Can you explain that process a little bit more, and how what's attracted you to that particular process?
It's a beautiful process. I love it because it's a process where you really, as an artist, as a performer, in that moment, you really need to remove yourself from the process. This is where the most beautiful answers can be created, because it is actually just then there's something like, I don't know, when you're a performer and you go on stage and you perform, and sometimes you don't even remember what you have done because it's something that is just takes you on the
Mm,
journey, actually does the work for you. The more you remove yourself, the more powerful it can be, because it is actually not you, it's something that happens in a moment and has beautiful synchronicities and magic in a moment. What can happen? It's very vulnerable because as an artist, you don't know what will happen. But in a way, I really like it because it creates this element of surprise that I don't know what will come up at the end of the day. Yeah, and that is fascinating, and it always surprises me. For example, the answers that I do at rehearsals and the answers that, for example, done live in front of people are always much more powerful or different to the ones that I would do at home. And yes, certain things like that. It's just the process is fascinating, and I
mm,
think it connects like more to the natural state of creating, where
mm,
we don't overanalyze. And we're working with intuition and something, in that case also with the body, because the body needs to be very focused, and it's a very focused, it is I was counting like 10 seconds, that's all it takes in terms of the time. But actually, how condensed the 10 second is what is going on,
yeah.
is very also performative
Mm,
when you watch it. So yes, I just really connect to it. I think it's a beautiful practice, a beautiful way of
mm.
painting.
Is it is the outcome affected by those who are watching you perform? Do you I suppose inadvertently pick up energies from others if they're in the privileged to be in the same room as you performing and practicing? Do you sometimes look back at your work further to what you said and think, okay, well, does my work manifest in a particular way because of certain audiences or what I pick up from an audience or the gallery space that I'm working on? Does that sometimes impact on your work?
I never actually thought of that much, but yes, it does. I think especially venue definitely impacts. I mean, it changes so much how the work is performed as big space or small space, and how you need to adapt. Like I visited Cockpit, and actually on Monday I'm going again just to be in the space and make the work. It is site specific in a way to really maximize on the impact,
Mm,
and would be adjusted accordingly to every venue, I would say. In terms of the audience, that's an interesting question. I never thought about it, but yeah, I'm sure on some level yes,
mm,
because there's even like the whole concept of people coming together and being in the same room, and doing something, going through this experience together. It's something special about it. I think it gives fire to the live performance, and definitely on some level would give a fire to the painting
mm,
that's being done. So
mm.
yeah, on some level, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, and prior to the actual performance, are you in a particular zone? Are you zoned in on producing the work and performing, or do you engage with the audiences prior to the actual performance?
So for this one, I decided that I want to be in my zone, that I'm going to perform, and don't want to interact before. And I actually asked my very good friend to do an introduction to the work, just a quick framework, and welcome the audience, do a little frame up, and kind of pass it to me, and then I can be in my artist zone where I do the work and perform.
Mm,
And then actually at the end, I allocated 10 minutes So I have that time with the audience still, at least afterwards. So after once everything is done.
Okay, right. No, that's very interesting. And I mean, obviously, we're focusing on your performance at the cockpit this coming month. What else are you doing? What else is on the horizon in terms of projects?
Well, the Circle of Everything, I hope, will journey a little bit further than the cockpit. I hope, the work has already been programmed for November here in Lincoln for the Lincoln Arts Center. And beyond that, I would love to make it into a dance film or a screen dance experience where it can be filmed in art galleries or outdoors for the public or in the festivals, or it would make the work more accessible because it's very visual, and actually it works already on a screen. I had it streamlined through our residency in London when I was doing like private showings of the works, and I was still building it up. And it works very well on screen because it's so visual with the projections. So that would be another project, and quite exciting because I see it as making it's not a documentation, it's own version of the art experience, but more cinematographic for watching on a flat screen. And I would love to obviously keep performing it. And I hope for next year, after hopefully good reviews at the Camden Fringe, good turnout, get some funding. And for next year, do a tour with the London, either again in a Camden Fringe, potentially 2 more cities outside of London. But most importantly, integrate. I would love to do an exhibition of the actual paintings because I have so many fantastic, big Enzos going on, and abstraction with colors. And I also have fantastic collection of performance photographs which have been developed during rehearsals of the Circle of Everything, with me inside of the circle, which is one of the key scenes in the show, which are beautiful, and I would have them, bigger, accompanying the show, either in an art gallery nearby the theater, or just close logistics to the theater. So it can be a double, or a theater that also have a big art space where the art can be on the walls. That's in a vision. How it will in what form it will manifest, we will see, but that is kind of as the vision. And hopefully, building still works. I still want to develop new works every year in terms of performance and my paintings. So continuing my own practice on the side of that. Going into technology, I think making a movie visual experience will be a great door to digital technology. I love working with digital technology. Designing and curating all my projections was one of the most exciting, actually unexpected things that I discovered, that within a press of the button, I can have a forest, just like that. And then with the press of the button, I can have that, and designing the show and the experience like that. Absolutely fantastic. So I hope I'll explore more of that.
Good. Watch the space. And finally, for our viewers and listeners, where can they find out more about you and what you're doing?
Well, Instagram, website, everywhere, website www.emergingvisions.art. Instagram, Kamila CK Artist. Kamila CK is my artist name. The same, and Kamila Kessler on Facebook as a normal public name.
Thanks very much, and thank you for your time, and best wishes for the forthcoming show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.